Scott Price has been president and CEO of Walmart Asia since 2009, when he took up the role of managing the retailer's operations and development across the region, including key markets such as the Chinese mainland, Japan, and India. Mr. Price joined the 2013 Asian Logistics and Maritime Conference in Hong Kong for a panel discussion about how the industry is being affected by rising online and mobile commerce. Scott, thanks very much for joining us. First, if you could tell us a bit about this retail online revolution and how this is affecting logistics and supply chain management.
Well, I think the core driver of the change is the fact that the point of customer interaction is changing, and therefore it means that your supply chains will also change. So if you look at China, for example, we have 400 some stores. Up till now, before we entered into the e-com business through Yihaodian majority ownership, the interaction with our customers were in our stores. So the supply chains were actually quite straightforward. Now what we find is that with Yihaodian, you have customers who look for more product online, and therefore the supply chain moves to last mile delivery networks. So very different than other markets in the world where there isn't a Federal Express or a UPS or a DHL last mile delivery level playing field. In China, for example, all of the online players are having to build their own last mile delivery network. But as it matures, you get to more like the United States, where in the United States, we actually have customers who choose to shop online, but they want to pick the product up at a store, because they still want to go in and they want to continue the shop by getting some of their fresh items, fruits and vegetables, meats, etc. So that also introduces a new wrinkle in terms of the logistics.
Well, how has Walmart's acquisition of Yihaodian affected your e-commerce offer on the Chinese mainland? I think there's even something called augmented reality as part of the package.
In essence, what it does is it kind of borders the world between a pure online experience and a bricks and mortar, where individuals in about 1,000 public spaces across China are able to take their mobile phone, and in an area that's been clearly marked and cordoned off, they're able to shop with their phone, and it's about 12,000 square feet, about 1,000 items. So to someone who doesn't understand, watching it, I'm sure, is quite an experience, as these individuals are basically walking around looking at these products using their mobile device that's internet enabled. You see many media channels talk about the competition between the bricks and mortar and the online world. And it's not. It isn't a competition. It isn't exclusive either or. I think that customers' behavior is changing, and for Walmart, it's important that we're able to facilitate our everyday low price philosophy in any channel. We call it omni-channel, to the needs of our customers. So by acquiring a majority of Yihaodian in China, we believe we're in the early days of the probably largest e-com opportunity into the future that exists anywhere in the world.
Well, how do you think Walmart's experiences reflect the challenges and opportunities for not only retailers but also logistics providers across Asia?
We now have the maturity of consumption and availability, and now what's happening is the need for centralization. So we've announced that by Q4 of next year, we will be the first retailer where all of our stores will be fed by a direct dry and fresh distribution center. Now, that's seen as very basic in markets like the United States or the UK or Canada, for example. But frankly, in China, the centralization has only just begun. Now, on top of that, you have this growth in e-com. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the logistics and the supply chains of China continue to drive efficiency, but also having to adapt very quickly to this change in customer demand.
Well, if we could touch a bit on India, we understand that Walmart is concentrating on a cash and carry format there. What's compelling about that sector?
What a cash and carry does is it gathers together a consistent access to 5,000 items that are the critical movers that they would sell. They can take a trip, and generally the trade area is quite far, 30 kilometers, for example. They can make a one-day trip in, and they're guaranteed then supply of product at a very good price relative to what they would normally pay. So in addition to driving more efficiency of supply chain, we're also driving an efficiency that can transfer to lower costs, which help them pass that on to their customers. So we're really keen. We see that the format has got a lot of legs for many, many years to come. Having said that, working with the government, as the FDI rules become to us something that we're able to take on, we're keen to also look at entering in retail in India as well when the time is right.
Well, given the changing landscape, how important are the logistics-related services like those in Hong Kong?
Very critical. Hong Kong has this unique geographic benefit. I mean, it is not only a key hub for North Asia, as it were, in terms of the ability to run large-scale businesses from a regional viewpoint, but it's also from a port viewpoint, an important entree point into southern China and the Pearl River Delta. So on top of that unique positioning, et cetera, I think there's been a natural growth in the services, whether it be financing, clearance, et cetera, that have built up. So they are critical because of the efficiency of having them all together, and I think Hong Kong does a great job of attracting all of that together.
And finally, why do you think it's important to take part in an event like the Asian Logistics and Maritime Conference here in Hong Kong?
The ability to live up to our everyday low price, to save money, live better as a mission for our customers, really comes to being the most efficient player. Logistics is a big cost in terms of how you actually provide low-cost products to your customers. So as we build out our supply chain, as we look at logistics in China or in India, which is obviously another emerging, interesting market, you see more and more logistics as such a critical part of our success. So for us, participating in these types of events, it's really about kind of focusing on one aspect of the DNA of our business, which is the movement of goods.